Good afternoon to you, wherever you're joining us from. This is our 1 o'clock news update. My name is Mark Masai. It's not quite the best of afternoons in Nyando. That opening live shot there, thanks to my colleague Doreen. And this has been the state in the last 48 hours, actually a bit more than 48 hours, after heavy rains started pounding this constituency in Kisumu County. And this has actually affected more than 1,000 families that have, and many have been rendered homeless after the flooding that was caused in this particular area. And this has been forecast by the meteorological department and will be the case, unfortunately, for the better part of the rest of this month, April, into May. And people have been advised to move to safer grounds, especially those in landslide-prone areas. Now, we have at least the tally that we can go by right now. In the last 4 days, the heavy rainfall, flooding and landslides have at least claimed 20 lives in different parts of the country. And we will be giving you some more details on that as they develop. Now, more than 100 families have been displaced in Namanjala location in Kwanza constituency following heavy rains that have pounded the area for the last week. Several roads have also been rendered impassable following the torrential rains. Meanwhile, the death toll from the landslides in Chesogon along the Marakwet-Pokot border has risen to 15. The state has now deployed the military to assist in search and rescue efforts.
Heavy rains pounding the country have forced families in Namanjala, Trans Nzoia County to flee their homes, fearing for their lives as the intensity of the rains increase. Homes have been marooned and residents lack basic necessities like food and bedding amid fears of an outbreak of waterborne diseases. Most of the displaced families have sought refuge in safe areas like Namanjala Market, while others have fled to Kwanza Trading Center. Residents here blame a construction company for demolishing a flooding barrier along Sabwani River Bridge.
Wajenzi wamepomoa ukuta ambao ilikuwa inasuiliwa na maji kuingia kwa mapoma ya watu. Hata sasa watu wanalala barabarani. Vyakula vyote vimefunikwa na maji. Sasa hatuna vile tunaweza kusaidia watoto, kulala ni shida.
Kama wangetufungia hii maji hapa juu kwa mtoni, tungekaa vizuri. Juu maji yote inaathiri area mzima. Kwanza inapita upande wa juu, inaingia upande wa Kalabati, upande wa chini kwenda upande wa Sokoni. Tunaathirika watu wengi, vyakula hakuna, sasa hii imefunikwa na maji.
Watu tumehangaika, tumechukua loni, tumeingia katika One Acre Fund. Dawa yote imeenda bure, mbegu imeenda bure. Hatuna mahali pa kutoa tena ingine.
Some roads have become impassable, with residents getting difficulties to transport their produce to markets. Residents now want the government to construct dikes in the area to control the floods. Following heavy rains in Nakuru, several villagers in Elbagon town were displaced and spent the night in the cold in local schools. Property of unknown value was destroyed as livestock was buried in the mud.
Mvua kama hii tuliona mwaka uliopita wa 2012 ilikuwa mvua kama hii, lakini ya leo ilikuwa imezidi, maana imefanya destruction kubwa sana.
Tukiangalia upande wa mlandi wetu wa persons with disability, ambapo tumekuwa tukisaidia watu wengi kwa miaka mingi, vile vile sehemu hiyo imebomolewa. Manyumba yetu 7 imebomolewa, vitu vya kukulia, kupika, zote zimeenda.
A section of residents from Juja Murera in Kiambu County are calling upon the county government to construct a tunnel to divert water that has been flooding their homes. Residents are blaming a road contractor whom they claim has blocked a major waterway which has flooded the area.
Nyumba haikaliki, imejaa maji. Watoto unaweka juu ya meza, ninyi mnalala juu ya makabati. Shwali tutakaa aje?
Maji yote ya takataka inapitia kwa manyumba ya watu. Italeta magonjwa, na sana wakati tunazungumzia kuhusu COVID-19.
The locals now want the developers to create a spillway for the flood water. Kenya Meteorological Department has warned that the rainfall intensity will increase progressively in the coming days.
We'll be keeping an eye on the situation of the heavy rainfall and flooding around the country. Now to the other disaster facing the country and the world, to be precise. Just 2 days after 4 people were declared to have tested positive for the COVID-19 disease in Ruaka, today an additional 4 have been picked by the Nairobi National Response Team. They are believed to have been in close contact with the positive cases. They have been taken to St. George's Quarantine Center, where they will be tested for the virus and monitored. According to the Sub-County Administrator, David Mugo, the Ruaka market will remain closed until further notice. The apartment building in which the positive persons live has also been fumigated. Two people who had tested positive for the coronavirus in Nakuru County have recovered and have since been discharged from the Nakuru Level 5 hospital. While confirming the release of the two, Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui says the county has already begun to roll out aid to the vulnerable persons affected by the stay-at-home orders. Currently, at least 45 people have been screened for the coronavirus in Nakuru County.
We have also sent a team to do counseling to the immediate family and the community around there. But we have seen stigma and discrimination as a key problem. So we would really want to urge the community there to exercise love and understanding, because any one of us is a potential patient for this disease. We have had a total of 191 suspects who have been quarantined. And these were as a result of contact tracing. When you get one patient, you want to see where they have gone. And out of these 191 that we have quarantined, we have gotten results for a total of 186. And they have all been negative.
Let's take this disease with the seriousness that it deserves. And for now, whatever action that we'll be taking, I don't think we'll have any apologies to make. Maybe if there will be any, is after we secure the population. Those who are already in forced quarantine for having been locked up in a bar. First of all, being locked in is a violation in itself, which means the owner of that bar must lose the license. Secondly, after completion of the quarantine period, whether they are positive or not positive, because they will have to be subjected to tests, they will also face a legal action for violation of directives.
Elsewhere, 23 people have been arrested and charged in Kabarnet for failure to comply with the COVID-19 restriction measures. The accused persons were rounded up from various streets, estates and even markets within Kabarnet town for failure to, among other things, wear masks and not observing physical distancing as stipulated in the Public Health Act.
All the 23 pleaded guilty before Kabarnet resident magistrate Vienna Amboko and were fined 500 shillings per count or an imprisonment term of 14 days for those that failed to pay. The charge sheet read that the accused person failed to maintain physical distancing of not less than 1 meter while in a public place, contrary to Rule 4 of the Public Health Act. The accused person, however, lamented to the press the manner in which they were handled, saying it could predispose them to contracting the disease. They say the cell they were held in for more than 5 hours was very small and they were exposed to body contact and poor ventilation. However, Baringo Central Sub-County Police Commander Francis Gichoki acknowledged the risk and promised to rectify the situation in future. Gichoki added that the crackdown, which has just started, will continue until people realize that it was a criminal offense to walk in public places without a face mask and observing social distancing. The police boss commended Baringo County government for creating awareness on the dangers of the COVID-19 and compliance on curfew orders across the sub-county. Halima Gongo, NTV.
Details of all passengers boarding private and public service vehicles will be recorded after their temperatures checked at all entry points into Isiolo County. This is according to the Governor, Mohamed Kuti, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
In a bid to ensure easier contact tracing of suspected COVID-19 persons, the Isiolo County COVID-19 Response Emergency Committee has begun to implement the recording of all passengers who board both private and public service vehicles. Entrants will be required to give their full names, ID number, age, and phone number. Body temperatures will also have to be checked before being allowed into the county. The measures come after both Mandera and Laikipia reported cases of the COVID-19 virus.
Vijana wajitokeze hapa kwa county commissioner na county secretary ili tuwe na volunteers wa kuandika hii majina kwa sababu sasa kazi itatulemea.
County Commissioner Herman Shambi cautioned members of the public against hosting visitors, especially those from affected areas.
Lazima sasa tuwe macho zaidi kwamba kama kuna wageni tuweze kutoa habari ili watu wa afya waweze kushughulika. Tunazidi kutoa mwito kwa wananchi wetu endapo watakaribisha wageni hasa kutoka kaunti zingine, ni kwamba mwenye anajiweka kwa hatari kubwa zaidi ni yeye mwenyewe anayemkaribisha huyo mgeni.
Last week, the committee announced the decision to close all routes linking Isiolo to northern Kenyan counties. Counties included Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. Those entering Isiolo from Laikipia, Meru, Marsabit, and Samburu counties will have their details recorded at the respective barriers. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
Let's now cross over to Parliament buildings, or at least close by, where Seth Olale is following, or at least going to give us something we can expect from today's proceedings. And there was talk about the tax laws amendment bill to be discussed in Parliament, but you could confirm whether this is going to happen or whether it has been overtaken by other concerns.
Well, good afternoon, Mark Masayo, joining me from Parliament Road, and indeed that particular amendment, it's now entering the third reading in the afternoon. This is after the second reading was actually tabled on the floor of the House in the morning, and so the afternoon session will see the third reading of the tax amendment bill. And what does this mean? It means that if this particular bill goes through, now it's up to the head of state to sign it and turn it into law. And this can take a maximum of 14 days, but can also take a minimum of just within a day. It can even be effected tomorrow. And of course, this one depends whether this particular bill will go past the third reading. But as it stands, and from all the signs indicating that there is no opposition to it, means that by today, we expect that this tax amendment bill 2020 to actually go through the third reading in the afternoon here at the Parliament buildings, and then now it's up to the head of state to spend that signature for it to become law. But remember that also this follows the directive of the president after he ordered the National Treasury to give employees earning less than 24,000 100% tax relief, and that one led to the National Treasury and of course the Cabinet Secretary in the National Treasury to cause an immediate reduction of the VAT as well from 16% to 14%. That has been effected from 1st April 2020. And so this is just in line with the stimulus action that the government is undertaking in terms of to sustain the economic viability of the country even in these extraordinary times of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so remember that each and every Wednesday there has been a special sitting at the Parliament buildings, and the sessions have been held twice each and every particular Wednesday. That is in the morning and in the evening, and in the afternoon. And now it's all systems go for the members of Parliament who, from this, since the President actually introduced these proposals, they have been cooperating, and this just shows you the willingness of this particular bill to be made into law, having it past the first reading and then today the second reading, and from all signs indicating that there is no opposition for it to go past the third reading in the afternoon. It is just in line with the collective responsibility both from the executive and the legislative arm of the government to make sure that this particular stimulus action actually goes into law and benefits Kenyans as whole, Mark.
Sefalale will definitely get the highlights of that on the tax amendment bill when it will be getting into the next phase of its reading. Just several days after NTV aired a story on a man in Kinangop, Nyandarua County who goes by the name Corona, he now seems to have landed a new role. John Wanyoike Corona has been endorsed by the county government to help sensitize residents on the dangers of COVID-19 and why they must follow government instructions.
It has been decades since John Wanyoike, better known as Corona, first arrived in Kinangop. He came as an artist and now he is on the forefront on the fight against the coronavirus in Nyandarua County. Corona, as he is popularly known to many people, coined the name when he began a boys band with his brother known as the Kinangop Corona Boys Band.
Mnakaa pamoja watu kama 10, 20 wanashikana wanaanza kuombana sigara wakiwa pamoja. Sasa mkikufa na mumepewa mashamba na baba zenu na mbuka na mabibi, mkikufa mtaachia nani? Kanisa zitafunguliwa, ni wagani wataokoka?
The artist, who has 2 music albums under his name, is now part of a government delegation that will be going door to door sensitizing residents in Kinangop about the coronavirus pandemic. Kinangop Deputy County Commissioner Kalume Kashuru and Kinangop Sub-County Police Commander Phyllis Kanina cautioned residents in the area against disobeying safety measures put in place.
Kama huna shughuli yote unafanya huko nje, baki kwa nyumba. Lakini kama itabidi basi utembee huko nje, basi utembee ukifuata yale masharti ya kuhakikisha umeosha mikono, kuhakikisha kwamba umeweka ile social distance na yale maagizo mengine yote ambayo Wizara ya Afya imepeana.
The police boss said that they will be on high alert and apprehend all those who are playing cat and mouse games with the government. Corona continues to strive to be a voice of hope in the fight against the pandemic. Helen Aura, NTV.
Well, I guess in a way now, Corona is living up to his name. The national government has been urged to fast-track its food relief supply to Kajiado County as approximately 150,000 residents are now facing starvation, owing to the rising number of coronavirus disease cases. During a distribution program of face masks and sanitizers, Kajiado Governor Joseph Olelenku urged the residents to adhere to the measures as the county is a major hotspot owing to its proximity to Nairobi County and Namanga border. So far, 3 positive cases of COVID-19 have been reported in the county in Kitengela, Matasia and Rongai. Lenku further said that the county has set up quarantine centers in each of the 5 sub-counties and has procured enough PPEs for medical staff.
Wasaini wanasema dawa ni miti, jamani mwache mchezo nayo, hii ni mgonjwa mbaya haina tiba. Ni vizuri tulisema wakati huu wa mvua, kwa sababu ya maji mingi, hali ya usafi yetu inaweza ikasoroteka, na tunajua usafi inasaidia mahali pakubwa sana kwa hili janga la corona.
Police in Vumilia area in Soi, Uasin Gishu County have nabbed over 1,000 liters of illicit brew during a crackdown aimed to fight the spread of the coronavirus. 3 suspects were arrested during the operation that was led by police and chiefs in the area. The brew includes 1,000 liters of Kangara, 500 liters of Busa, and over 100 liters of Changa. Residents have been flocking to Changa dens after bars were closed following government directive on fight against COVID-19 pandemic. Soi Sub-County OCPD Fanuel Nasio said those arrested will be quarantined for 14 days before being arraigned in court. Well, in support of the fight against the coronavirus, Kisii National Polytechnic has donated 5,000 face masks to the county government. While speaking at the county headquarters, Governor James Ongwae has urged residents to follow national government regulations such as social distancing, wearing of masks, face masks, and washing hands regularly. The county has waived tax on PSV vehicles, food and beverages, and all penalties on late payment of taxes.
Bakonya abantu baminto iyongo tebye cyagwa kikinde kigo tomukinya gitari ne kinde cyegwa abantu baito n'abantu ba esbera era nyarekane.
Okay, with 20 minutes past the hour, let me take my first break, my only break actually on this bulletin. I'll be back shortly.
Maritime Tips, brought to you by Kenya Maritime Authority. Precautions for vessel and boat owners, operators, coxswains and passengers. Personal hygiene. Practice frequent hand hygiene, coughing and sneezing etiquette. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces on board the boats and vessels such as steering wheel, safety or guardrails and seats. Crew members, coxswains and passengers to regularly disinfect life jackets. Practice frequent hand washing with soap. Wear a mask on board a boat or vessel. Boat owners and operators to comply with government directives on movement restrictions within counties. Kenya Maritime Authority for safe and efficient water transport.
Discovered the world-famous Molfix and saw the difference. Let's see how absorbent Molfix is.
Molfix, thanks to its ultra-absorbent particles, can keep more liquid than the other diaper brand, so you can use it comfortably all day long.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
As we navigate the new normal, we hope that this note finds you and your family safe. We are indeed living in an increasingly challenging time, a time of disruption, a disruption that has brought grief to some, financial difficulties to so many of us, and enormous changes to life as we know it. Now, though self-isolation may at times be hard, many people are discovering that it presents an opportunity for all of us to slow down, to pause, and reflect. Better days will return. Stay home and stay safe.
We all know William Shakespeare, the most famous author of all time, writer of 37 plays, 154 sonnets, several epic poems, and why we are here today. But what if I told you Shakespeare never wrote a single word?
Heaviness and a burning inside, it could be heartburn.
Indigestion and heartburn? Eno gets to work in 6 seconds and works on the 6 symptoms of heartburn so you can keep living life non-stop. Eno, fight heartburn and indigestion fast.
NTVAtOne continues with the sport, and the question is, should the current Kenyan Premier League season be cancelled and Gor Mahia awarded the title or not? That seems to be the question as a result of COVID-19 ravaging local sport and uncertainty becoming the norm. Prior to the league's suspension, Kakamega Homeboys were hot on the tail of leaders Gor Mahia. Alan Wanga, a striker with the Kakamega Homeboys, has this to say.
We were one of those teams that were contesting for the title. And as you know, we had a very big chance of winning the KPL title. And from my personal level also, I was really looking forward to giving it a run for the person who was leading in the top scorers chart. So no matter what time it will take, when that time comes, I think it's only good if we go back to the pitch and finish the 8 remaining games and see who's the champion.
In the ordinary sports calendar, young athletes across the globe would be gearing up for the World Under-20 Championships. The COVID-19 pandemic, however, has disrupted normalcy as we know it. In sports, 2020 was going to be a special one for Kenyan athletes, in particular with Nairobi set to host the event in July. Kelvin Karianke, a junior athlete, talked to Steve Keter about his dream deferred.
World Junior Championship ilikuwa Nairobi. Na nilikuwa pia sure kuwa nitang'ang'ana na ilikuwa nipite trials kwa sababu nilikuwa nimefanya training ambayo inastahili. So this year nilikuwa nimefanya a lot of training kuwa mimi nilikuwa niende national. Tulikuwa tumeanza hii wiki, maybe leo ilikuwa tuende Samburu.
And that's not the only disruption. The Berlin Marathon will not go ahead as planned on the 27th of September after Germany extended a ban on large-scale gatherings until the 24th of October. In a short statement, organizers said the event cannot take place as scheduled without specifying whether postponement was possible. They would coordinate further steps, they said, and the Berlin race was scheduled to take place the weekend before the London Marathon's rearranged date of the 4th of October. The London Marathon, which was originally due to take place this Sunday, was postponed amid the coronavirus outbreak. The Berlin race has been the scene of the past 7 men's marathon world records. Most recently, Eliud Kipchoge's 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds in 2018. Chelsea's Antonio Rudiger has offered to cover the catering costs of frontline staff at the Berlin hospital where he was born for the next 3 months. The 27-year-old is also part of the Players Together campaign to donate money to National Health Services charities, and last month made an unspecified donation to Chelsea's foundation along with his teammates. The Blues have been widely praised through the coronavirus crisis, with the club offering free hotel rooms to hospital staff, as well as free meals to NHS staff, and to charities and, of course, vulnerable people in the community. The Dutch Football Association is mulling over cancellation of the top flight season after the national government extended a ban on major events until the 1st of September because of the coronavirus. Ajax and AZ Alkmaar are leading the Dutch top flight level on points after 26 games, with Ajax ahead on goal difference. Dutch football's governing body KNVB said in a statement it intends not to continue playing the 2019-2020 competition, but will consult UEFA before making a final decision. Earlier on Tuesday, UEFA said some European leagues would be cancelled or could be cancelled in special cases because of the pandemic. With 28 minutes past the hour, that does it for NTVAtOne. Our next news bulletin will be at 4 o'clock. If the daily update on the COVID-19 status comes before that, we will go straight there live and update you with that.